My goal here, this is a little bit of a deviation from our typical trainings because it's not sort of disease-based. So we're talking about a general topic that comes up a lot in working with kids, and even in working with adults as well. And so my goal is to give clinicians more confidence as bullying behavior comes up and to just have a little bit of knowledge of what the preventative measures are that are being utilized. And then if you are having these conversations, sort of how to engage youth and families, and then how you might have conversations addressing this sort of behavior in both victims and bullies, and then give you some resources locally. And so you feel confident knowing what to do. All right. So I'm going to start with some definitions. Bullying is a behavior that happens in a pattern, so over and over again, not just a single one-off of harm doing, and we have to have a power imbalance. So a lot of kids will come to me and say, oh, I'm being bullied. And they're like, yeah, my best friend, called me a bad word. And it's like, well, that's certainly unpleasant. I'm sorry that happened to you. But if we don't have that power differential, like say you're not in a clique where that one friend obviously has a dominant role, and they're not doing it sort of more than once or in a pattern that you feel sort of less than, it's not quite bullying. So the key is repeated and the power imbalance. There's a wide range of levels, right? So that can look a lot of different ways. Frequency can change, right? So it might happen once every 6 months. It might happen every 6 minutes. Direct versus indirect. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what that might look like. In person versus online. There's different roles that you can play. So a pure victim role, which is a kid that is bullied and they do not themselves bully others or fight back as a bully in any way. The perpetrator or the bully. And then bully victim, which is a concept I do want to introduce because these are the kids actually with the worst outcomes. So kids that are bullies themselves, but are also victims of bullying by others. So these are kids that I'd really be concerned about. And then the setting. So peers can bully when we're talking about kids, and then siblings can also bully. All right. So first we're going to talk about traditional bullying. So this is Johnny from Karate Kid. He sees you on the beach talking to his ex-girlfriend, and he's going to punch you in the face and say, hey, I hate your guts, dude. So this is direct. So direct physical bullying would be any overt physical aggression. So this is Johnny fighting you on the beach using his dojo skills, punching, pushing, kicking. Direct verbal, so overt attacks that are personal. So looking somebody in the eyes and, you name it, picking on them for their appearance, something about their family, something about them that's different, and saying, I don't like you, and I want everyone in this room to know. Indirect. This would be more the plastics, Regina George, Mean Girl style bullying. So this is more covert and insidious. And often this is employed by girls, though it is not exclusively employed by girls. Boys do this a lot too. So more covert behavior that damages peer relationships, self-esteem, or social status. So this could be passing me notes, putting up offensive graffiti. So you're not directly saying, hey, I don't like you, but you wrote somebody's name up and said something bad about them. Putting shaving cream in someone's locker. Exclusion. This is something that comes up a lot in youth now. So this can be pretty subtle, just sort of, kids hanging out together without another kid. And we'll talk about this in cyberbullying. The fact that you're being excluded might be more obvious. Ostracism and then shaming. And the shaming can be very subtle. So this line from Mean Girls, Regina George's the blonde one, she says, you're really pretty. And then Lindsay Lohan, the redheaded character, says, thank you. And she says, so you agree, you think you're really pretty. So just she's using her power as the queen bee in this dynamic to undermine Lindsay Lohan's character. She hasn't said anything negative about her. She's just sort of making her misstep, saying, what are you going to say to this? And putting her in this position where she's not sure how she should feel, she should respond, really putting her on the spot in a way that if anyone repeated the conversation, no one would know or be able to sort of like clearly identify that there was a power struggle going on here, but obviously it was. All right, sexual bullying. So there's a huge range of behavior here. This is sexual harassment, any form of sexually bothering another person. So this can be subtle, spreading rumors, oh, so-and-so did this with so-and-so, all the way up to pressuring someone else to engage in sexualized behavior. Other things sort of in the middle would be using sexualized language, making lewd remarks about someone, and then inappropriate and unwanted touching. Cyberbullying. This is getting a lot of attention right now with good reason. So this is basically any bullying that's happening through digital technology. And I have seen the full gamut of digital technology used. So this could be phones. A lot of this is happening on group text or directly through text or FaceTime between kids. On social media, you name the platform, it's probably happening. Just general internet, people might make like anonymous websites about people. And then even school accounts. So I've seen school like Google Drive slide decks where kids are writing things about other kids and then deleting them or having full conversations with each other, or school email accounts as well. Kids might make hurtful comments. They might spread stories about someone online. They might post media featuring someone online without their permission. So this can be more the covert type of bullying where it's like an unflattering photo, or say someone's dating someone and then they post a photo of that person with someone else. Or it can be much more harmful. So they could send nude photos without someone's permission. Threats of harm can happen online. Impersonating a victim, this happens a lot. So someone will take a fake account. So they'll make an Instagram account, say, pretend to be that person, use a couple pictures, and then get in trouble or say bad things about other people. Same with emails. And then they might exclude a victim from participation in an online space. So they create a space, invite everyone, and then they leave that person out. So somebody is left off a group text thread. This happens a lot. It might be this person is invited on the text thread and then kids take them off. And so you can see so-and-so has left the chat. So everybody knows that person's been kicked out based on whatever's going on. Or they might just start a group text thread and then talk about it, reference inside jokes from this text thread while they're with this other kid. So this kid knows I've been ostracized. I'm not part of the text thread. I'm not in this. And this can happen too with Discord servers. This comes up a lot. So there's sort of like it's a media gaming social media site. And so someone will be sort of like the lord of the Discord server, and then they'll manage it, kick people out capriciously. There can be a lot of opportunities for asserting your dominance over other people. Some specific concerns about cyberbullying and why it's such a concern right now. You have the increased potential for large audience. So if you are direct bullying like Johnny on the beach, really only the people at the beach are going to witness this. But online, anybody that has taken a screenshot, the entire school, the entire county can know. There's also kids are emboldened by the anonymity of this. So when you're sitting alone in your room, you might do things that you wouldn't feel comfortable doing in a classroom building, let's say. Especially for my kids who are also bullies, there's a permanence of posted messages. So once they say something online, I'm saying, whatever you put, it's in writing, it's indelible. Consider that it's there. Somebody's going to take a screenshot. This is going to be shared. It's going to continue to live beyond just you writing that word, even if it's on Snapchat, which allegedly things go away on Snapchat. But if you take a screenshot, it's there. Someone will know that you took a screenshot, but it's still possible that people will save these images or these messages. There's a lower level of direct feedback. So you might put something out in the sphere and it might not pick up or be shared by people for a couple of days. There's not that in the moment reaction, response, facial expression, seeing how much you hurt someone that you would get in person. There's also, I think this is probably most important, reduced time and space limits. So if someone's bullying you at school, you might only see them in 1 or 2 classes or at recess, something like that, or on the bus. You go home, you have 16 hours to recover, rejuvenate, touch base with, your people, yourself, and then return. If someone's cyberbullying you, you might have access 24/7. So they could torment you all the time. And then there's decreased adult supervision. So adults might exist in some of these spaces depending on the age of the kids, but often they're not fully immersed, or if they are, they might not be the sort of adults that we might want supervising, if that makes sense. They too might be predatory in other ways. So what is the scope of this problem? Bullying is ubiquitous. So we've recorded it in ancient civilizations all the way up to now. There do seem to be some conditions that make bullying more likely. So the more disparities we have within a society and the greater stress, bullying seems to come out more, especially in children. And so that sort of makes sense that if kids are struggling, they might struggle more for power and try to assert themselves. There's sort of an insecurity that brings out this sort of behavior. So globally, 1 in 3 kids report being bullied in the past month. In the US, 1 in 5 kids report bullying a peer at some point. 2 to 5% of kids are habitual bullies, so they continue to bully.